Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! This takes place back in 2011 when I was helping my wife shop for a car. We proceed to go to our local Ford dealership on a Saturday and she finds a Focus that she likes very much. It's a higher-end sporty model. I can't remember the exact trim name, but it was very nice. They let us do a 24-hour test drive, and when I was back at my house, I looked at the blue book, the normal amount that people are paying, and they were about $1,800 higher, $500 of which was a dealer fee. So we'll return the next day. My wife is all excited and in love with a car, and we go to sit down and I say, "You guys are $1,800 too high." Without question, they took $1,300 off, and I said, "Is there anything we can do about the dealer fee? Because I really don't want to pay it." They said no, the dealer fee is for whatever upkeep of the vehicles. In my mind, and I'm thinking, if you don't want to upkeep vehicles, don't have a car dealership. We went back and forth and they would firm on not removing the dealer fee. And they said the only place where you don't have to pay a dealer fee is about 40 minutes north of here. So I thanked them for their time and we left, much to the chagrin of the salesperson who thought they had a locked-in deal. So we left the dealership and drove to the one that they mentioned. On the way up, the salesman called me and said that they will take half of the dealer fee, and I said all or no deal. We got to the new dealership and the people there were wonderful. There is no pressure because the prices are firm on the windows and there is absolutely no dealer fee. We found a car my wife liked and it turned out to be a Fusion. The salesperson even went out of their way to dig around and look for rebates that we can get because she has a master's degree. It got us another $500 off, as well as a few others. We bought the car. Monday I got a phone call from the first dealership. They are willing to waive the dealer fee. I informed them that night it was too late. We purchased a vehicle at the place they recommended. Folks, always remember who really has the power in the car dealership. So this happened to me a few days ago at my dealer. For context, I'm a service advisor at a local domestic brand dealer in one of Texas' largest cities. This customer came in because her truck was pulling hard to the left and needed an oil change. I told her it might need an alignment, but I would have one of my tech look at it to see if nothing else was wrong. A few hours later I called her and told her that everything looked fine, but the alignment was out of spec and the tech was recommending one. She asked how much and I told her our alignments are around $120 for cars and light trucks, plus the oil change. I can hear her sigh over the phone and say, "You guys are too expensive. This is why I hate dealing with dealerships. There has got to be a coupon or something for me." Mind you, this was her first time visiting the dealer. No previous history or anything. I tell her, "Ma'am, at this moment we are not running any promotions, but let's see what I can do for you." I placed the call on hold for about a minute, for suspense. I picked up the line again and told her, "I spoke with my supervisor and we can use an internal coupon to discount the alignment to around $80. She says, "That's it?" I say, "Yes, that's what we can do today." And I stay quiet. She says, "Okay, go ahead and do it." Fast forward a few hours, she comes in to pick up the truck and hands me a coupon from another dealer. It was saying Mother's Day special. Full synthetic oil and filter exchange with tire rotation and 2 or 4-wheel alignment for $189. I looked it over and also noticed it had expired a few days prior. I told her, "Ma'am, this is from another store and it's also expired." She says, "I spoke to someone earlier and they told me I could use it and that the expiration doesn't matter because it is not your coupon." I asked her who she spoke to, but she couldn't give me a name. Of course. While I'm looking at this spectacular flyer, I realize that the price is more expensive than my bill. Our service for her vehicle is around $75, and plus the alignment at $80. she'll be just over $150. I try to get a word across to let her know about this, and as soon as I say, "But ma'am, your total is," she cuts me off and says, "Either you take this coupon or get me a manager. I'm not paying you an expensive price. You guys are thieves." I say, "Ma'am, I already discounted your alignment to $80. Your coupon is useless. It will be..." Again, she cuts me off. And she starts yelling, saying, "Somebody on the phone said I could use this coupon and I will. And I'm done with you." I smile and say, "Okay, you are the customer." I proceeded to adjust the ticket and change the price to make the total $190 plus tax. "Ma'am, cash or card?" "Card." I charged her card with a smile and said, "Here are your keys, ma'am. Have a wonderful day." She stomped out of the door and peeled off. My boss then comes to me and asks, "I heard her yelling. What was she mad about?" After I explained what had happened, he couldn't stop laughing. And it's been a joke on the service drive for almost a week now. So, I'm a British guy living in Germany. I have always wanted to drive a Porsche 911, so a few years ago I bought one, which turned out to be full of problems and broke down. I had to fight for 3 months for that car taken back by the dealer and went to a rival, which is where the fun begins. I made the dealer very aware of the mess that the first car had caused, and I told him upfront, "Order me a new one, give me the spec I want, and I will be a customer for life. Cross me and I will be a nightmare. It's a 200k car. I want what I'm paying for and nothing less." You see, Germany can be very xenophobic when it comes to overseas folks with money, even if they work bloody hard to earn it. It's like I wear a sign saying "kick me." So the specification is submitted and it's got all the toys, aggressive racing suspension, tech and the lot. 3 months out from delivery and I'm asked to come sign something at the dealer. It doesn't look right, so I query where have my options gone. Somehow a few items have fallen off the list, and the suspension is the softer variant. I got mad. Where are they? It's apparently my mistake, and after several hours of arguments they admit they changed the car. I'm told I'm committed to taking the car regardless, or they want me to pay 20k to cancel the order. I called my lawyer and so I'm not committed to the car. And in fact, as the dealer changed the order, turns out I have a chance to force the dealer to take the car back. Plus, as I'm a freelancer, all verbal promises are seen as a contract. Game on. So I collected the car from Stuttgart. It's lovely, but it's not what I ordered. Shame that. Cue call to lawyer before I agree to sign in front of the guy from Porsche. And I'm told to sign for the car with conditions. Porsche is not happy with this and the dealer is shouting down the phone. Next, the dealer refuses to ever speak to me again. No matter, that's fine. I insist on returning the car free of charge. Porsche dealers know they must accept, and every day they think about it costs them money. I returned the car for a full refund 3,500 kilometers later. 3,500 kilometers very fast kilometers, with a red line being reached daily. I'm here to replace it, but whatever I get is unlikely to be a Porsche. It's not like I did not warn them. I worked for a car dealership as a lot porter. I had gotten into an accident that totaled my car right as I was purchasing a house, which led to a predicament because you don't want to buy a new car while buying a house. Shortly after buying the house, I found a different job in a field I love. So I put in my 2 weeks notice and then I went and bought a car from a different dealership because my wife wanted a specific car that my dealership did not sell. I also knew how slimy the one I worked for was. A few days after the purchase of both house and car, one of the sales managers asked me if I was ready to buy a car from him. I did not disclose the fact to anyone that I bought from a different dealership. I informed him that I already bought one. So he looked at me in the most serious face and asked me if I wanted to pack my things. Basically, because I wasn't loyal to this dealership. Knowing that I already had a better job that was able to start me immediately, I said sure and turned and walked away to pack my things. He then realized I wasn't going to put up a fight. So he immediately started laughing and told me that he was joking, and how they would never fire anyone for going somewhere else, but I already knew a few people that had gotten fired for that exact reason. I told him I don't appreciate being fired as a joke, because first I do have a 1.5-year-old, and if I didn't have a job lined up he could have seriously hurt me financially. But I ended up leaving feeling relieved because this was not a good job. The funny thing is, he called me about 30 to 45 minutes after I left, because I had left keys to multiple brand new trucks in my desk that had to have the plastic removed and get parked. Turns out since he fired me, they made him take care of the stuff. I am now fully enjoying my new job with the best bosses I have ever had. I know I probably took it too far, but I don't regret it. Edit. There were a few good sales managers that really cared, and I don't want to throw them under the bus, but the job got too tiring because of the bad ones. I hope this made sense as I'm writing this when I'm so exhausted and sick. Backstory. My wife and I went on vacation to Hotel del Coronado in Coronado, Southern California. The vacation was awesome and we live in Iowa, so the beach was nice to see. One issue about living in Iowa is for some reason or another it takes almost a full year for new car models to start showing up on dealer lots. The Prius Prime had just come out and I was interested because I hate wasting money on gas unless it's for fun like off-roading. We got an Uber and went to the Toyota dealership to see the cars. The plan was I could buy a car and drive it back instead of taking the plane. And according to my math, I would only have to fill the gas tank about 10 times if I plotted my router to use charging station. I love to drive and we went on a fun, though chaotic test drive. Midwest driving is far more than relaxed than California driving. In the end, the car was out of our budget, but even though it's a Prius and would look goofy next to my jacked up Jeep, I absolutely love that car. We did not buy it though. When we got to the San Diego airport, the counter asked for my government-issued identification. I pulled out my wallet and realized it was gone. I had left it at the dealership. Us being from Iowa and being very pro-Second Amendment had our carry permits. I paused for a moment knowing we had gone to a few gun shops in San Diego just to take a look. Also knowing California hates guns and I was considering using a gun license to board an airplane. Side note, we went to a gun shop and saw a guy talking to the clerk rather angrily because they wouldn't sell him a gun. The reason they were unable to sell him a gun was because he had his medical marijuana license and thus violated federal law regarding addiction to illegal drugs. I jokingly said to move out of California, buy a real gun and he will be better off. The store clerk laughed and asked where we were from. We said Iowa, and I started sharing some pictures from my collection. Back to the story. I explained about the car and the driver's license. The worker doesn't care and says without government-issued identification, I can't fly. Cue the malicious compliance. I pull out my weapons permit and slide it across the counter. The airport worker looked at it and groaned. They tell me to step aside and that I'll have to go to secondary. My wife did not want to get separated and when asked for identification, also uses her weapons permit. We get an escort away from the counters and a golf cart is flagged down for us. The worker explains to the driver and off we go. We blasted past the lines all the way through the airport and over to a larger security checkpoint with no lines and a mix of cops, TSA and guys in nice suits. We are escorted to this checkpoint and are searched vigorously. Then try to x-ray my pillow and ask why I'm carrying my pillow. It's a 10-pound Tempur-Pedic pillow with cooling gel and the 50-pound bag limit forced me to carry it. Apparently so thick they couldn't see through it. They squished, flattened, shook and even took what looked like a rolling pin to it and cleared it. Next was our carry-on bags. Our bags we used for travel are the same bags we used to go to the range. They swab my bag and the machine goes nuts. It came up positive for gunpowder and tannerite. I explained that this is my go bag and I use it at the range. They go over this bag like it was going to explode at any moment. They clear me and send me aside after putting me through an imaging machine multiple times. My wife goes through the same thing, but the imaging machine keeps going off. They have her empty her pockets again and I break down laughing. In her pocket was her driver's license the entire time. She just didn't want to get separated and pocketed it at the first counter. Anyway, it was her top clasp. We got cleared and went to the next step. The golf cart with a very old man returns and takes us to our gate. We are told where to sit and to wait. Our tickets are economy class and we are in group 3, so don't expect to load up for a while. We were surprised once again when we were escorted to our new seats up in the very front of the plane. We are told to use a call button for anything we need and to inform the staff if we plan on leaving our seats. Another man introduced himself as Homeland Security and sat across the aisle from us. I asked if he counts as staff because I needed to use a restroom, and he said yes, and to use the one up front. The flight, food, and entire trip back was amazing, and halfway through I was told to stop asking to go to the restroom or asking for permission to complete every little action, such as stand in the aisle to stretch. We finished our trip and truly recommend using a weapons permit if you ever feel like traveling by air, though results may vary. I worked for a boat dealer one summer in college. He had the remarkable ability to emulate cartoon red when he got pissed off. The business straddled two sides of a busy road. The owner, I will call him Bill mostly because his name was Bill, asked me to tow one particular 30-feet vessel across the road. While I was preparing to secure the hitch, the salesman, who I was also supposed to support, had an emergency that stood to spoil a nice sale. I took care of a problem, made the customer happy and went back to tow the boat. Well, wouldn't you know it, Bill waddled up and saw me doing what he had told me to do 15 minutes ago, and went all Yosemite Sam directly ordering me to immediately get into the truck and move that boat that he apparently believed to be copulating at the time. Knowing full well it wasn't properly hitched, I carefully pulled away as soon as I had a Queen Mary-sized gap in traffic, got up some speeds and made my left turn, shall I say rather sharply. The boat and truck parted ways with the captainless boat sailing down the road, bearing 10 degrees to port. The boat eventually took out a stop sign, without stopping I might add, sustaining minor damage, but the sign was totaled. Well, Bill stormed up to me having achieved the shade of red Yosemite would have been impressed by. I looked right into his beady eyes and walked briskly toward them. In my mind, I was just hoping he'd take a swing at me. He must have remembered some more important matter and changed course. My skinny girlfriend at the time worked for the village. She got the sign taken care of and I fixed the boat. Next morning, I asked the jerk for a raise. I still can't believe he turned me down. Wonder whatever happened to that girl. Oh yeah, I woke up with her this morning. Another time I was tightening lug bolts and he yelled at me because I wasn't straightening enough, so he insisted I tightened them as tight as I could. Exercising remarkable restraint, I only broke off 3 of 5 studs before standing up, getting in his grill and inquiring, "You mean like that?" Bill was used to being the bully and completely unaccustomed to anybody accepting the challenge. Apparently, he also wasn't accustomed to people who could bench press 365 pounds and needed to take care not to break things. You'd think he might have acquired a clue when I loaded and unloaded the boatyard without ever using the tongue jacks. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.